Hello and welcome into today's video. Over the last few daily sports takes, I released my mock draft version 1.0. So if you missed that video, be sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a like and a comment on any video that you watch. So today, I want to go over some of the prospects that I missed in the first round. Some prospects that I could see sliding all the way down to the second or maybe even third round that could potentially be considered first rounders by many. So obviously there's a lot of talent in the league, and a lot of times with the playoff teams, especially in that 20 to 32 range, they have guys that they're looking out for that nobody's really talking about, and so that's what I tried to accomplish in my mock draft version 1.0. So today I want to name 5 prospects that I think slid past the first round that could be steals in the second or third round of the NFL draft. So we'll start with quarterback Jordan Love out of Utah State. Love is considered by many to be either quarterback 3 or quarterback 4 in this draft. The reason why I have him falling so far is that as quarterback 4, there just aren't many teams that are in dire need of a quarterback and willing to spend a first rounder on a guy who won't start for them right away. Majority of their teams have their starting quarterback. The only teams I have picking quarterbacks are the Bengals, the Dolphins, and the Chargers. Outside of that, everybody else has a starting quarterback that they feel confident with going into 2020, or at least a competition, like the Bears with Mitchell Trubisky and Nick Foles. So I think a team with an experienced quarterback, or maybe a long-term starter that isn't proven to be a long-term starter yet, could take a flyer on Jordan Love in the second round because he has a lot of talent. I just don't think a team's going to want to risk a first-round draft pick on him. My second player that fell in this draft class is cornerback Trayvon Diggs out of Alabama. He's related to Stephon Diggs, who's a wide receiver now for the Buffalo Bills. Diggs is a talented defender in a deep skill position draft class. I think he might have the most upside at his position, but he struggled against LSU and other top programs in the country. So I think the inconsistencies there against top programs are going to be what allows him to fall so far in the draft round, because some teams probably have him on their first round board. I think he does slide into the second round though. Now looking at another cornerback for my third player that I think slid past my first mock draft is cornerback A.J. Terrell out of Clemson, another cornerback at a premier school. Once again, similar to Diggs, he struggled against bigger programs, but he was asked to take on some of the toughest competition. I think that he would be a steal in the second rounder, but there's a couple issues with this game that I have. I think that he's very leggy in the way that he runs and defends, but he has a thin lower half, and I think that he's inconsistent at being able to jump routes. I think sometimes he's too aggressive, and then other times he's not aggressive at all. And so I think he needs to understand what his game is and then play to his strengths. So I think that would be a benefit for him. If he gets in the right defensive system with the team that drafts him in the second round, I think A.J. Terrell could be a Pro Bowl cornerback in the future of this league. Because remember, not all first rounders turn into Pro Bowlers, and I think sometimes the ones that slip are the ones that actually do. So I think Terrell would be a great fit for really any team looking to bolster their secondary in the second round. And then I want to slide to my fourth prospect that fell in this draft. It's a wide receiver this time, Brandon Aiyuk out of Arizona State. Now, Aiyuk didn't have a lot of love going into the last season. He was a JUCO transfer in his junior year, had a little bit of success playing next to first-round receiver N'Keal Harry. But his senior season, he broke out and put up astonishing numbers. However, Aiyuk is seen as a guy who is more of a speedster who's going to make big plays downfield, but he's not great yet at making the intermediate passes and running crisp routes. I think that Aiyuk is a great story, and he's really sliding up the draft boards. I think he has a chance to be a great receiver in this NFL. I just don't know if teams are willing to take such a flyer on him in the first round when there's so many other players at the wide receiver position that are worthy of a first round pick. You have 8 or 9 wide receivers in this draft class that could be long-term starting receivers. So I think that taking a flyer on Aiyuk in the first round doesn't make sense for a lot of teams when they realize they can get him or somebody very comparable to him in the second round. So then finally, my last prospect that I think slid out of the first round, or a lot of people believe could be a first rounder, is running back Jonathan Taylor out of Wisconsin. Taylor led the Big Ten in rushing for 3 different seasons in his collegiate career, so he has done a lot in his collegiate career. I also think that he just had such a heavy workload that it's going to be tough for NFL teams to want to accept being able to draft him and rely on him right away. Teams do still want workload running backs. Look at Derrick Henry in Tennessee. But the fact that he had over 300 carries multiple times in college, it definitely scares a lot of teams, and I think Jonathan Taylor could fall in this draft because the shelf life of a running back is already short, but when you've already exploited that shelf life in college, it's going to be really tough for NFL teams to take a flyer on a running back like that in the first round. So there you have it. There's some players that I think dropped in my first mock draft. Let me know what you think. If there's any other players, I know there's other guys I didn't name, like T. Higgins from Clemson and Jalen Reagor from TCU at the wide receiver position, who many believe could be first rounders. So be sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment below who you think I missed in my first mock draft. So stay tuned to my next daily sports takes. I'll be releasing my mock draft 2.0 later this week. With that, enjoy, everybody.